Congressman, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Bottom line it for me, why do you want to be Texas's next U.S. Senator?
Well, because I believe that it's time for the next generation of leadership to step into the fray and lead this country moving forward. I'm somebody who's a West Point graduate. I flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad as a former Apache pilot. I have served this nation, and I'm somebody that believes in Texas. I bleed Texas, and I believe that this is the greatest nation in the world. And every generation, we have to have young, brave minds that want to step into the fray to lead for the future. And I think that time is now. I'm somebody that believes in term limits. I'm committing 2 terms, 12 years. That is it. I believe that John Cornyn has been around for 24 years, and that is just too long. Eventually, you're going to lose touch with what it means to be a Texan. You're going to lose touch with the primary voter. And $100 million and being a 24-year incumbent still is not going to save him. It's time for the next generation, and I do believe the people of Texas are speaking.
When you say you lose touch with what it means to be a Texan, what does it mean to be a Texan that he doesn't get anymore?
Well, sir, you can't be a senator from Texas and co-author gun control legislation. In fact, that's why he's in this quagmire in the first place. This is why the primary voter left him. You can't co-author legislation that allows 50,000 Afghan migrants into this country without being properly vetted. President Trump also won Texas by 15 points. I was the first person in the country to endorse
he did better
President
than Trump in that last election, didn't he?
Who did?
Cornyn.
Absolutely not. And it was the last election was Ted Cruz. It was Ted Cruz was on the cycle.
But in 2020, when they both ran on the same ballot, Cornyn outperformed the president.
I don't remember. But the bottom line is that he just won by 15 points, and he did not endorse President Trump until a year after I did, and I was the first person in the country to endorse him, which is the point I'm making. This is clearly Trump country, especially the Republican primary, and because people just don't believe that he's a true conservative is why he's in this position.
I read somewhere, I think you've said that he began his public service career when you were about 11 months old?
The first time I got elected to become a judge, I was 11 months old. Yeah. And so I was at West Point 20 years ago when he first got into the United States Senate. It's just time.
There are 3 guys in this race, however, Ken Paxton being the other one.
Yes.
What's the matter with Ken Paxton?
Well, the thing about it is that Ken's a conservative. We all know that. We all know what his voting record is going to be like, should he be a senator. But I've also had the privilege of traveling around all over the state of Texas. I'm the only one that's actually running a campaign. I'm the only one that's here. I've done over 50 events and over 200 interviews. I was meeting with a woman in Amarillo, and she said, Wesley, I'm choosing between you and Ken Paxton. She goes, but I'm going to choose you, and here's why. In a couple of years, Ken is going to qualify for Social Security. And then this is a 6-year term, and then he is going to be in his 70s. We're having the exact same conversation again. And because you are here in your prime, in your youth, to serve for 2 terms, I'm going to choose you because I believe that you're right for the future of this country. And also, Ken is a career politician. He's been around for a long time as well. And I think we are in an era to where people are done with career politicians, and it's time for the next generation.
Does his personal life factor into why you're running against him?
That is up to the voter, and that's up to the God that he serves. I am here to talk about what I'm going to do for Texas and how I am going to be the next senator and what I'm going to do to represent Texas values.
Would a President Trump endorsement settle this Tuesday night if he had endorsed one of the 3 of you?
Potentially, but if you've noticed, he stayed out of it.
Yeah.
Which I find to be fascinating. You see, John Cornyn is one of 2 Republican incumbents that the president has not endorsed. And I can tell you that if the president would have endorsed anybody when I waited 8 months to get into this race, I wouldn't be here right now. And so
if he'd endorsed John Cornyn, you would have stayed
in the very beginning, of course I would have. I gave deference to John Cornyn. I gave deference to the White House. And if he was unable to earn his support, well, then that's when I got this race. I'll also let you know this. John Cornyn spent $60 million before I even got into this race. And he was still polling in the 20s. So at that point, I realized that the Republican primary was looking for another option. And $100 million later, he's still in the same place.
What was the most effective part of the State of the Union address on Tuesday night?
As a military guy, as somebody that flew Apaches in Baghdad, watching those 2 brave gentlemen receive the Congressional Medal of Honor really touched my soul. To look at the bravery and look at how these men risked their lives so we could have a free and safe union is something that is near and dear to my heart. My brother, sister, and I are all West Point graduates. My dad's a retired lieutenant colonel in the military. The military aspect and service mindset is very important to me. I also want to talk about the contrast that he drew with some of my Democrat colleagues that refused to even stand up when we were talking about the very safety of every American. That has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with leadership and what we should be doing at the federal level, and that's a nonpartisan issue.
You've made the argument when people raise concerns about your attendance record in Washington that you've been back here trying to earn the votes. You don't have the money backing you up, so you got to hustle and get out on the road and talk to people. If you win the Senate term, what's your attendance record going to look like then?
My attendance record is going to be fantastic. And keep in mind, when I first got into office, my little boy was in a NICU, so I missed a large tranche of votes then. Also, I was a surrogate for President Trump on the campaign trail. I missed some votes then. And then obviously for the past 2 months, I've been running for the United States Senate to term limit a 24-year incumbent. Do you know how many votes J.D. Vance missed when he was tapped to be the president?
All of them.
All of them. Do you know how many votes Tim Scott missed when he was running for president? 150, the third most in Senate history. At the end of the day, this is what is required when you're trying to seek higher office. But I will also say this. There's been 2 times in the last 2 months when the White House needed my vote, and I was there. I will always be there to vote for consequential legislation that matters to push the Trump agenda across the finish line. I will always be there. I will not necessarily be there for roll call votes. I may not be there to name to define a shower head, to vote on the definition of a shower head. But I will be there.
It was a big Trump priority.
It was a big one. But I think it's okay. I think he'll give me a pass for missing that one.
Is there a vote you missed that you regret missing that you would have wanted to be on the record about?
Not at all. Not at all. No, sir.
I'm curious, because this is a primary, and we like to ask this of those running in the party primary. What to you right now does it mean to be a Republican?
It means a lot to me. What it means to be a Republican, especially a Republican in Texas, it means that I'm being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. It means that I already represent a white majority district in a suburb of Houston, Texas, that President Trump would have won by 20 points, and I won by 25 points. It means that I get to travel across the great state of Texas and take my message to people from Amarillo to Lubbock to the Panhandle to Corpus Christi to Dallas, obviously Houston, Austin. I am having the time of my life taking this message to my fellow Texans. And that's what it means to be a Republican. It means we have a secure border. It means we don't like a lot of federal government. It means we love our Second Amendment rights and our First Amendment rights and our ability to serve Jesus Christ and Lord that I want to serve. That's what it means to be a Republican.
Does being a Republican in 2026 mean you have to be loyal to President Trump?
Well, I think that this is President Trump's party. He has been in charge of the party for what will be 12 years. He's the second person in the history of this country to be the president, lose, and then come back and be the president again. I mean, he is a force of nature, and this is where the party is. And this is why John Cornyn is in the quagmire that he is in. Because everybody knows that he is a Bush era, a Lincoln Project kind of Republican. And that era is over. The era of the Trump Republican is upon us. We have to recognize it. And if you don't, well, you don't get his endorsement, and we'll see how this primary turns out.
I heard you in there talking about the Democrats, Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
That you pray every night that Crockett wins, but you anticipate that Tallarico may ultimately prevail.
I'm being tongue-in-cheek. Come one, come all. I think I actually said this in my talk. I'm already outperforming Ken and John in the general election against both of them.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm already winning. And this is what it takes to have a young, vigorous candidate that's willing to inspire people so that they will walk through broken glass and hot coals to go vote for them come November, because we're going to have a fight on our hands.
But the idea that they've had more Democrats show up early to vote than Republicans right now, does that signal anything to you?
I don't think so, because it's still a primary. And again, Texas just turned to President Trump to the tune of 15 points. I think the general election turnout is going to be much higher. And this is kind of indicative of what we would see on an off-cycle, non-presidential year, especially with President Trump not on top of the ticket driving turnout.
Let me ask you 2 quick issues that are on the minds of voters. One that's constantly on the minds of voters, one that very well may be much more so in the coming weeks, the economy.
Yes.
Driving down prices.
Yes.
Somehow making life more affordable.
Yes.
What's one way you would do that in the U.S. Senate?
Well, the beauty of this is that if you recall, President Trump got elected because of what? Border security, the price of eggs, and the price of gas. Both of which, all the above which, are better. Are we where we need to be? No, we're not where we need to be. But what I would like to do is be the energy senator of the entire world. We're sitting right here on the Permian Basin. Texas is the 8th largest economy in the entire world. Number 9 is the country of Russia. So by unleashing American energy, by doing it cleaner, safer, better than anywhere in the entire world, energy is an input to everything. Texas must lead from the front on that. And since Manchin is no longer in the Senate, we lost that energy guy. I'm going to be the energy guy driving prices down because inputs will be much cheaper.
So that's more drilling?
Of course
what else?
it is.
What else?
It is more drilling, it is more production, it is an all hands on deck approach. And by the way, I'm for all sources of energy. We need more electrons. We need nuclear. I'm a fan of all of it. But what we cannot do is regulate ourselves out of having the maximum amount of production like we have seen under the Biden administration.
Having flown dozens of helicopter missions over Iraq, you have a keen understanding of the threat of Iran.
Yes, I do.
The president, of course, is thinking through whether or not there needs to be military action against Iran. What do you make of the sort of moment he's in thinking about that? And does he need to provide more explanation to the American people?
I think we should trust President Trump, especially when it comes to foreign policy. The first time he was the president, we literally had world peace. We have not prevented Iran from having a nuclear weapon, something that we have said for decades that they cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon because they will use it against our allies and potentially use it against us. Peace through strength is what happened to Maduro. That was one of the most outstanding things I've ever seen in my life, and I am a helicopter pilot. The coordination that it took to pull that off was something that only America could do, and I got a front row seat of that. What's really important for people to understand is that peace through strength also means that if we have a strong, fit military force, if we're at the technological tip of the spear, we're not going to have to fight, which is the whole point. So I know he is mulling over a current attack over Iran, but I'm going to trust the process, and I'm going to trust that he's going to get it right.
But you concede that an attack on Iran won't look anything like an attack on Venezuela.
Well, no, but if you do recall, during that first attack, I remember a lot of my colleagues on the left they were clamoring about us being involved in World War III. Last I saw, 1st Cav, 4th ID, 82nd Airborne, nobody's deployed. Even a couple of months ago with capturing Maduro, we're going to be in a quagmire, we're going to be in a long, drawn-out war. Last I checked, 1st Cav is still here. We don't have any large brigades or boots on the ground. Let the man cook. I think he knows what he's doing in terms of having peace through strength and also gaining respect from every other country around the world, specifically our allies and our enemies, that now realize that there is somebody in charge. It is President Trump.
One last question. There are going to be a lot of eyes on Texas in the next few days, especially Tuesday and Wednesday when you guys hold your primaries. What do you think is the biggest misperception about Texas in the 49 other states?
The biggest misperception? I think the biggest misperception about Texas is that it's not a misperception at all, because we do think we are bigger and badder. We think we are the best state in the entire union, and that's just what it means to be a Texan. Is that a misconception? Not at all, because we actually genuinely do believe and we actually do feel that way. And I think that is the kind of gusto, the kind of attitude, and the kind of vigor that I think is required to be the next senator from the great state of Texas.
Wesley Hunt, travel safely.
Hey, God bless you.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you very, very much.
All righty.